Welcome back to the NAO show. That's Marky Mark. That's the Tank Top Mike, and I'm the Fresh Prince. This is going to be your week 2 review. All right, that's our show. Great. Have a nice day. Oh, wait, we actually have to talk about week 2?
Yes.
God, all right.
Mark. Deep dive.
Deep dive. All right, fantastic. This is going to be great. All sharp objects are out of arm's distance. All right. If that doesn't tell you how great I did this week, I don't know what will. Mark, what do we got going on this week?
Well, we're into our normal weekly thing with we'll do the scores, we'll do any trades, we'll do standings, we'll do matchups for next week, we'll give out the Miyagi. Sure them sharp objects are out of the way there.
No sharp objects.
All right. Let's start with the scores then. Let's run them down. Going to start out with Goofy Jace. Beat the Underdogs. Thought you guys might like to start with this one. 157 to 113. Kind of a little bit of an ass whooping there.
Woo!
A little bit of an ass whooping. Mike, would you like to start us off on this one?
Hey, this is a big difference in the scores here. It was a bigger win by Goofy than I thought was going to happen, actually. I think, the big surprise was Aaron Jones, 38 points. I mean, we're all talking about Derrick Henry scoring 47, but it's not discount Aaron Jones putting up a cool 38. Not
3
too bad.
TDs.
Yeah, for a Monday night game, it's pretty good, actually.
Sure.
Mike Evans had a big game. Calvin Ridley saved his game. I know there was some panic there with Ridley at first, kind of saved it with a touchdown. But, it's still 10 targets for Ridley. You can't complain about that. What year is it? Gronkowski scoring 2 touchdowns on 39 yards receiving. That's fantastic to see. There's Mike Williams. They lost to the Cowboys. That's my analysis on that game. Keenan Allen, 12 points. They lost to the Cowboys. But, it was another week of the Underdogs not hitting their projections. They had a lot of players score way lower than their projections. My big question is, when are they going to get their quarterback right? They didn't get it right week 1. They sat Dak. Week 2, you got it wrong again. But the Cowboys won. I don't know if we've gone over the fact that they won. But Dak Prescott did not do well.
Well, now that Mike took all the talking points on the first matchup, I guess I'll pull something out of the thin air. Well, I will say that it is okay, Goofy. We will allow you to come into the crew, as they say, as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan with all the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that you started. I am sorry that Antonio Brown was kind of a dud this week, but he did freaking push you over the line last week. So what the heck are you expecting from wide receiver 3 in Tampa? All right. Mike Evans didn't do much last week, but he got you 2 touchdowns this week. So it's going to be a give and take. Live with it. We all know that you're a Buccaneers fan, because when was the last time the Philadelphia Eagles won a Super Bowl? Oh, yeah, I don't remember. Okay.
It was like 3 years ago.
I think a backup won the Super Bowl.
It was the other day.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, Mark.
They won one in recent history. Yeah, Goofy J still can't start the right defense, so we're going to have to make it a weekly thing. Help Goofy start the right defense. We'll do a poll.
I voted for the Chiefs, and they scored more. So.
Yeah, I mean, he started Philly, got 1 point, and Dallas and Kansas City on his bench both scored 7, which was just a little over their projection, both in the green. But I guess he didn't need it this week. It was a rough outing for the Underdogs. They had Najee Harris, CMC, Hawkinson all had good games, but you're looking at Dak. It was good for real football, but really bad for fantasy. I had him in my in our home league, or our family league, I should say. And I watched the game, and then I looked at the score afterwards. Like, how the hell did Dak get 7 points? They just won the game, man. I thought he did pretty well. I wasn't really paying attention to the fact that he got no freaking touchdowns, right?
On that point, can we just all 3 of us, the NAO crew, tell the deep butts to bench Dak Prescott next week, so he will actually put up points for everybody.
Good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, I can go with that.
Yeah, but Dak was disappointing. Gibson was disappointing. AJ was disappointing. All of them kind of blah, And even, Washington football team, I had them starting on defense in my other dynasty, and they were pretty disappointing with only 3 points. I thought they might get some more turnovers and stuff against the Giants, but just they really weren't good. I'm going to chalk it up to Thursday night and think maybe they'll have better days ahead, but Washington football team defense was really disappointing. So just
that was one of those weird divisional games, Washington versus Giants. You can't really count any of them out. It's going to be a tough game, anyways.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
You can't make the joke about starting against the NFC East when you're both in the NFC East. So
yeah,
that's right.
So yeah, kind of another rough outing for the underdogs, man. We'll have to see if they can turn it around next week.
I have a question for you guys on the underdogs team. Just shooting this out there. It's only week 2. It's only week 2, but they're averaging 116 points a week. They spent what, 30 weeks of off season putting this team together, and you're averaging 116 points. Are you worried going into week 3? Are you nervous at all?
As a owner of another team that may have to play them again in week 5, no, I'm not worried at all. I think they're doing a great job, real bang-up job, if you ask me. Please sit Dak Prescott so he can make more throws to Amari Cooper, which might actually benefit them more that CeeDee Lamb gets more targets. But yeah, I'm not worried. How about you, Marky Mark?
I do like that call. Play Dak. Please play Dak so that he'll go off on your bench. That would be very nice. I got him in my redraft, so yeah. All right, let's go on to the next one here. We've got the Pooh Crew, 117, FNG 114. I round these, but it was only, in real time, it was a 3.26 difference. Am I reading that right, man? The Pooh Crew.
You are reading that correct.
The Pooh Crew.
FNG putting up some points.
My favorite thing about this is that if FNG had held on to Derrick Henry, he would have kicked some ass.
Oh man, he would have been a force to be reckoned with.
We would have been having a lot of fun talking about that. I guess I shouldn't talk about woulda, coulda, shoulda. Mike, talk about the real deal here with this very slim margin of victory.
Yeah, I'm going to point out one woulda, coulda, shoulda, and it's the elephant in the room of Boston Scott. If he had started even Ingram, he wins that game. Which, I went to bed pretty happy because, the Pooh Crew was losing this one. And I thought, no way the Packers defense scores any more points. And then I wake up and they edited the interception, a sack, and a fumble recovery for the win. But, I think last week we saw one of Ian's ceilings, and now we're looking at his floor. And, a floor of 116 points. Yeah, like you said, Sean, they got to play you again. Bring that on all the time. That's great. Yeah, that's great to see. If I'm Ian, though,
better.
Are you worried about Dalvin Cook? Sure, 16 points, but he was injured at least 4 times in this one game. That's something to watch. This is an interesting one because he did not do well, but got away with the win. And I think it was just the FNG week. That's unfortunate for the rest of us.
Yeah, it really is unfortunate for the rest of us. I'd like to make a movement towards the board, towards the commissioners. Can we have a ruling on just giving this win to FNG because this game shouldn't be anywhere close to this? Like, I'm okay with Ian losing, just so we all know. But I mean, Lamar Jackson had a game. He had a game. When was the last time let me see when the last time he scored 32 points in a game. Let me see. He had 2 interceptions that could have easily been the difference in this game. He did not. He scored it in week 14 against Cleveland last year, and No other game last year did he even come close to 30 points. So Lamar Jackson actually showing that MVP talent this week that helped FNG. If he just ran for another 25 yards or didn't throw those interceptions, I think that could have been the difference, other than playing somebody that actually got points in the RB2. But shoot, did we really think this game was going to be this close when the week started? No. No, we didn't.
Didn't look like it on paper. Yeah, the only ones that Auto Poo had in the green were Kelsey and Higgins. Everybody else was in the red. Is pretty much, what's that, 80% of his roster underachieved, and almost to the tune of losing to FNG. Oh, boy, that would have been funny, man. That would have been a funny one. He barely got away with this one here. I mean, Lamar killed it. AJ Green comes through with a pretty decent game, 11.9 points. Just when I thought he was dead and gone, Marvin Jones had a good one, and that New England defense with 19 was his second highest scorer on his roster. So FNG, man, I'll give it up to him. He wasn't the lowest score this week, and he almost pulled it off. So
he's going to win some games this year.
He'll get one.
He'll get some.
How many? How many are we putting on the board for FNG wins this year?
I mean, he may get two. He may.
I was thinking two.
He may fall
such
in.
a safe bet. I'm gonna say 3.
You're gonna say.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say he's gonna win 3 games this year, and one of them's gonna be in the bottom 4 tournament.
Yeah, I don't know. Looking down through his bench, he didn't even really have the points on the bench to score. Like you said, Ingram maybe would have gotten him over the top, but because it was just so close. But it just not a lot going on there for him, man. Hunter Renfro, Renfro would have got him over the top.
Mm-hmm.
But not
Jackson would have gotten him over the top.
Yeah.
By like 0.1, I think. That would have been hilarious.
I can tell you this: somebody was sweating down in Florida, and it wasn't because of the humidity. So, well, let's move on to our third score here. Oh, yeah. This is me. I see me coming up on the show sheet, and I don't want to talk about it, but it was the Tough Luck Kid. Changed my name. Got to change my luck. The Tough Luck Kid. 154.30. Anti-Edis Bloomers. 154.62. Yeah. Humpty, Swamp Dick, whatever you want to call him. He decided to take a weird name. So I'm going to call him Anti-Edis Bloomers until he changes that one. But yeah, 0.32 victory. Mike, this was a good one, man. This was a barn burner. I think the obvious thing is Henry, but start us off, Mike.
Yeah, I was going to say there's really not much to say, other than you guys both had a pretty good week. Obviously, when you score 154 points, you don't, what do you say other than, great week, really.
Yep.
Obviously, well, I think Hollywood Brown gets the credit, gets as much credit as Henry. Obviously, Henry scored 47 points, but, when was the last time, Hollywood had a game like that? That was, and in chat, he said Hollywood Brown needs a career game, and Hollywood Brown put up a career game. So, it's easy to point at Henry and say that's why he wins, but, and like on your side, there's not much to point at. I think if you wanted to pin it on a guy, I'd blame Kittle for this one.
Yeah.
That's the obvious choice on your side too. I mean, Kittle has any other week in his entire career wins you this game. This is a tough one for both sides. I mean, like I said, 154 points in the loss is tough to swallow, any week.
I couldn't agree more, Tank Top Mike. I heard something today on a podcast about Hollywood Brown that he came out of college with a really bad foot injury, and supposedly it's one of those injuries you can play on, but you're not at 100%, and it takes forever for it to actually really heal. So this might actually be a more adjustment to the mean for Hollywood Brown this year. If he's 100% and he's doing this, and they don't even have their other wide receiver on the board right now. So he's seeing CB1s right now. And still getting 20 points. That's bodes well for a trade that when it happened, I was like, hey, A-Bomb, good job moving Hollywood Brown because it's not going to turn out very well. I might be eating those words later on this year, and then when Hollywood Brown is a top 20 wide receiver this year.
Yeah, they can start maybe putting a safety over the top on Hollywood right now, but then when Bateman gets in there, if he gets up to speed, then you kind of have to pick your poison if he's as good as I think he could be. Hate that he's injured right now because love to see what he could do out there. But one that kind of goes under the radar for him was Sterling Shepard. Not a bad start there. He gets 13 points. He got 10 targets and nine receptions, 94 yards. He didn't get a touchdown, but that's some solid points out of one of your flex spots. He shored up that flex, So
Corey Davis did not help him about shoring up the flex, but
yeah,
I think that's an off day for Corey Davis.
It is. I mean, you play New England, they take away your best guy, and then it's a rookie quarterback to boot. So, Bill had an easy time game planning against those guys. So I think there's better days ahead for Corey Davis. But yeah, I think the Shepard start helped him out there, kind of put him over the top. So yeah, my guys did all right. Like I said, Kittle was definitely bad. A little concerned about him because all the targets right now are going to Debo. Sanders wasn't too good either. His second week in a row where, he's solid, but he's not scoring touchdowns. So, of course, did they get one touchdown, I think, in that game anyway? So, tough game there with going up against San Francisco. So, but, otherwise, you look at all my other guys are all in the green and looking good. Any other time I'd be happy about this one, but definitely disappointed with Kittle not getting a little bit more. So he gets 17 yards or something? I mean, that was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Four receptions for 17 yards. That's not a Kittle kind of day. Usually you get the ball in his hands, he's going to get some, 17 and yak on one of those, but that was pretty bad. They must have been, keying on him too. I didn't see the game or any of the highlights, so I don't know what happened there, but that was just an ugly game all the way around. So
yeah. Mark, I wouldn't hang your head at all.
No,
I mean, I think 8 out of 10 weeks, if you score 150 points, you're going to win 8 times out of 10.
Yeah. No, I'm not hanging my head, man. I got a decent lineup, so hopefully I'll continue to average the points that I'm averaging, and I'll get a couple of wins here. I just hoping I don't go the way of the underdogs last year because it's sort of like deja vu all over when I see these. What am I like? I got 3 points difference in my points for and points against. So not much more than that, and sitting there at 0-2. So that's not too good, man. Let me look at it. I gotta scroll way down to find me there.
You're 2 and change between your points for and
yeah, 2 and 2, not even 3 points. Yeah, so. Yeah, that reminds me of the underdogs last year, missing it by a stat correction and a loss by 0.18, kind of thing going on. So let's hope that I don't have that kind of luck. That's why I'm the tough luck kid right now. All right, man, let's move on to our next score, which is Silly Dilly 145, Orlando City Football Club 111. Tough loss for our buddy Aaron. Mike, start us off on that one.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is, looking at the score, obviously, Silly put up a respectable 145, but I think the big story on this one is Aaron's team. A 111, we've talked a lot about everybody's team. I don't think we've ever had anything really negative to say about Aaron's team, ever, really. And him coming out of the gate also 0-2 is a fairly big surprise as well. I think the Josh Allen story, last week, where'd he go?
Yeah, while you're looking, I think in the in our ranking shows, he was kind of the consensus 4, I think, wasn't he? He was the
we had him pretty high, yeah.
firm in the playoff ranking kind of guy.
Yeah, we had the Josh Allen thing, and everybody's saying, can Josh Allen do it again? And he scored 17 and 16 in the last 2 weeks. The Bills themselves are doing pretty well, so they're not concerned fantasy-wise there. But that's he put a lot of stock into Josh Allen. He had a huge year last year. Expecting something like that again, obviously. But I think you scroll down through Aaron's team, and it's the same kind of thing. It's just a whole sea of red once you get down, below his big heavy hitters. Nick Chubb is going to carry that team, I think, for him. He knows that, but after that, he had kind of a disappointing week. It's just tough to see because, like we said, we liked Aaron's team going into this. It's a tough one. I'm sad. Is really what I'm getting at. I'm just sad.
Well, yeah, I think everyone saw in the chat how Silly Dilly directed his comment towards the NAO, and I think everybody in this league knows how I handle terrorists, so I'm going to talk about A-Bomb. I think A-Bomb should go ahead and, this is just me, simple bystander. I'm just going to give you some pointers on who you should start this coming week. I think Alex Collins is going to have a real good week. I think you should put him in over Chubb. I know it's dramatic, but Chubb, I think he's going to have a real down week this coming week. And, Cole Beasley, he might get that stack with the Josh Allen, you should definitely start him. And maybe Brandon Ayuk. I hear he's on the upside this coming week. So those are just a couple little pointers I'd like to give you there. I don't know who you're playing this next coming week, but sure, yeah, go ahead and take some pointers from the NAO crew. Go ahead.
I don't know. That Ayuk, man, has been a big surprise being so underutilized. Looking down through his roster here for last week, Brandon Cooks was the only guy in the green, and that's probably the last guy you expect to be your top guy. But that was pretty much his top guy. On the bench, he had Cousins, but yeah, you're gonna start Josh Allen over Cousins. That was kind of a weird game. I think Josh Allen will be okay. The one thing that I was a little concerning with him is his completion percentage is down right now. Kind of looking. I mean, I felt like we'd see some regression out of Josh Allen just because he had such a killer season, but that's a little bit more than I expected. I thought maybe a little regression, not a lot, but kind of a weird game where they got up early and he didn't have to do too much. So maybe there's better days ahead there.
It was 35-0.
Yeah, the Buffalo defense is who should have had in there. They had a monster game, and they were on a lot of people's bench. I don't think a lot of people were starting them, but who knew that Tua was going to go down early and it was going to be such a weird game there. But yeah, he had a lot of people in the red. Carson was good for him. He kind of hit his projection, but he wasn't great either. Just a rough day for him, man. And I think I was trying to find the weekly report, but I can't. In my, me being computer challenged, I couldn't get my chat up over here. So I was trying to see I think Dylan was set the perfect lineup almost, So that's kind of like the perfect storm against the perfect shit show this week. So
speaking of shit show,
we're going to segue into our next one. I don't think there's much more to say. I think
that's the best segue we can come up with.
Yeah, I don't think there's much more to say about that last one. So let's go into our final score of the evening, which is Tank Top Mike, 133. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, 83. Whew. Talk, guys. Talk it out. Let's get it out. Let's get it all out. Let's, let's heal. Let's heal and let's move on. Mike, start us out on your side.
Yeah, from my side, this started off where I had to watch on TV the Houston and the Browns, and I thought, damn it, I've moved all the way across the country. Now I got to watch the Browns again. And I thought, Jarvis Landry sitting in the flex, gonna be okay. no Beckham. It's going to be fine. Nice, one catch, 9 yards already. Then he gets up and he's injured. He's out for the game. That was the first thing I freaking see. So I think obviously this is going to be a terrible week. But, I managed to, the rest of my team managed to pick him up. Really, my other wide receivers really carried me in this one. I mean, obviously I'm getting 52 points from my 2 wide receivers, a monster day. Like I said before in the pre-show a little bit, like that isn't a game that I expect every single time out of those guys. But Kupp, this is kind of why I was interested in him. He's always been fairly solid, and now he's got Stafford throwing him the ball. Like, maybe I do expect 163 yards every week because he's trending that way. It seems like anyway. Sutton obviously got picked up a little bit because Jerry Jeudy was out. And in that regard, if he's going to be out for a few weeks, this connection with Teddy Bridgewater is going to just improve. So, he's not going to have 12 targets. When Jeudy comes back, I expect it to stay fairly high going forward. But the big news out of my camp is my tight end scored some points. And I think that's really why I won this week. I'm getting some points out of that position. But going forward, I got to make some choices about some flex. I'm going to get that wrong every single week. I got it wrong again this week due to injury, I suppose. But it didn't cost me a win here. It's going to eventually, and we all know it. And it's going to be later in the season when I'm still in the 4th spot. We all know that's coming later too. Sean, take it away.
Yeah, I think if you were to tell me before this week started that AK was only going to get 5 points, I'd be like, oh, please sign me up for that. AK only 5 points. I love every second of that. But literally no one on my team showed up. I mean, I think Justin Jefferson outscored his projections by maybe a point, and then my defense was my highest ranked player on my team. If that doesn't tell you how my week went, I don't know what else will tell you that. But they scored 19 points, and they outscored the next person by almost 5 points. So that was my week in a nutshell. Good win for the Tank Top Mike.
You took the words out of my mouth, man. When your defense is your top scorer, you're probably not getting the W that week. It's not a good week for you. Yeah, rough week for you, Sean, man. You lost Jeudy. You put in you had Patrick to put in there who he overdid his projection. He didn't have a great game, but at least he was in the green. JJ was looking okay. I mean, just the defense was good. Everything else on your roster just was pretty putrid, unfortunately. Big day for Cooper Kupp. That kind of helps you, Mike. You did leave some points on your bench, but I mean, you did enough to get the win here. So yeah, good win for you, Mike. I saw you were in 3rd place. We'll go over the standings in a minute, but yeah, you're in 3rd place, and I'm like, he's trying to stay up there a little higher this time, so maybe in the playoffs. Hey, anything but 4th, as long as you're not in 4th place, because that's a bad luck spot.
Mm-hmm. That spot's cursed.
You gotta fight hard to stay in that 3rd place, man. So don't mean to get ahead of it, but I couldn't help but see that today and think, oh, okay, at least he's in 3rd. All right, well, that brings us to the Mr. Miyagi ass waxing of the week, which goes to our friend Airgate 2020, Sean.
Well, I humbly accept this prestigious weekly award in the NAO show. I have not only a rant, but I have a philosophical question and a little congratulations to send out this week. My rant is, why the hell can Patrick Mahomes not throw it to CEH? It's literally against his religion, and it is very, very apparent. Week 1, CEH running in the flat, right in front of Patrick Mahomes, 3 yards in front of him. Easiest throw Patrick Mahomes is ever going to make in his whole career. Completely forgets him, keeps running, and then takes a giant hit. let me remind you how much this man is making. He's making $500 million, and he gets hit when he can literally just dump it to a running back that is making a percentage of what he is making. I digress. My philosophical question is, does Patrick Mahomes even need to dump off to running backs? Does a running back do well with Patrick Mahomes' caliber of athleticism, being able to throw every pass in the book and even a whole bunch that are not in the book? Is a running back even able to get dump offs from a player like him? And my congratulations goes out to FNG. You weren't Miyagi all year long. I took one for the team. You're welcome. Done.
Yeah. I saw that play you're talking about, Sean, and I kind of wondered, is he trying too hard to make the splash play every time? Because that was the easy read right there. I saw it too. I was yelling, go to CEH, and yeah, it's like no, I'm gonna try to make one of these sidearm, what's that movie where they curve the bullet? He's trying to make that freaking throw.
Wanted?
Yeah.
Wanted?
He's trying to make that throw instead of just dumping off to the easy. I was screaming at the TV, man. I thought that was the dumbest thing that I'd seen in the whole game, man. I get it, man. I get your frustration. Why do you draft a guy at the end of the first round who's a great pass catcher that would fit in well with that up-tempo passing kind of offense and just overlook him and try to make a big throw downfield and get your ass beat?
Well,
then I was thinking,
to quote the great Terrell Owens, that's my quarterback. That's my quarterback.
Yeah. Oh, I see a tear running down Tank Top Mike's cheek there. That's my quarterback, but yeah.
And I was thinking, like, all right, let's move CEH out to the slot. Oh, wait, that's already being taken up by what they call a tight end, which is really a wide receiver.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I get your frustration. Yeah, good on FNG. We thought he might do a clean sweep of the Miyagi, but week 2, and he's already out of the running. So that's great, man.
Great to see it. Happy to see it.
Sorry,
I hope I
to
never
be you.
see it again.
Sorry, it had to be you. The only thing that could have made it better was if he'd have beat the Pooh Crew. So
that would have lessened the blunt of having to take this.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, let's move on to next week's matchups. Well, no, I'm sorry.
Are we going to do standings first?
No, I caught myself there. Before we do that, let's let Mike run down the standings. Tell us what you see there, buddy.
Really, I'm going to stick with the theme from last week. There's a lot of familiar faces going on where we have some guys. I don't know if you remember, Goofy was first place for a long time last season. Ian kind of overtook midway through, but here Goofy sits, beginning of the season, sitting up there in first. And I don't know if you remember, early last season, Aaron had a rough start before he made a resurgence going up. Aaron's sitting back down there, but also the big thing to point out is the underdogs are still in the bottom 4. So everybody can rest easy, at least until next week. Like we pointed out, I'm sitting up there, in the low playoff spots, but, I'll be there until week 12, 13 maybe. Sean, you're sitting there in 6th. That's about where you sit for a while. Everything is just the same as last year, guys. Nothing's really changing. I do, it's not standing specific, but I do want to point out the crazy fact that, Mark, you have the second most points scored by only 6 points, 5 and change, really. And, down there in 7th place. So if that sticks, you're going to have one heck of a draft pick this year, at least.
That's right.
Who's got your first round pick?
That's right. Hence the name, the Tough Luck Kid. Yeah, you're right though. Everything's looking really familiar except Silly Dilly in 5th place, man. That makes me worry about the apocalypse when I see that.
Worry about the apocalypse.
I'm looking at that plague of locusts out there outside the window.
I will give credit to Humpy's team. That team, going back to last year, never saw second place in any way, shape, or form.
I think what did he win? I think he won. I'm sorry to cut you off there, but he won his only one game, I think, second week or so against Dilly, and then lost the rest or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, he nosedived straight to the bottom. So.
Yeah.
Who was the owner of that team before?
Oh, Jay Hill, rest in peace.
Oh, rest in peace. Yeah,
Rest in peace.
that's it.
Rest in peace.
So really, I guess good credit to him. He's put together a pretty good team, set up there in second place, took over hot trash, traded for Derrick Henry in second place. That's all you gotta do.
No, he's done a really good job. I didn't point it out in chat today, but I did notice that he does still have a few guys in his starting lineup from that win that were still, on the roster that he inherited. So he's done a great job, but there are still a few guys on there that, Jay Hill, rest in peace, did all right. Seemingly did all right with. So, and he traded away Cooper Kupp. That was the one that I was thinking about. That I was like, man, if he had Kupp on there, he'd really be kicking some ass, So, but there's still a few holdovers.
He's got a great upside guy in DJ Moore.
Yeah, definitely, and that's one of the ones that was there, I think. But did he trade him away and trade back for him? He's had so much churning and turnover. I don't know who the hell's gone and come and gone and whatever, but there are a few holdovers. I did notice that. All right, let's go over now we'll go over next week's matchups. So we're going to start with Tank Top Mike going up against the aforementioned Humpty Swamp Dick Douche Canoes. Pick your favorite name. So this is yours, Tank Top. You want to start it off?
Well, first off, I hope that Derrick Henry does not score 45 points. That's really all I'm thinking about, really all week long. We both have some pretty interesting matchups. He's going with Sam Darnold against Houston, which is probably a matchup you want to go after, but it's a Thursday game. And are we going after Thursday games? I generally people try to avoid them, but it is an intriguing matchup. Although, like I said, I had to watch that Houston game. They're not as bad as everybody was saying they were going to be all season. They hung with Cleveland for a little while. I guess CMC is, individually a much better player, but, it's an interesting matchup to go after on a Thursday. I'm hoping, I was actually kind of glad to see that Stafford wasn't in, kind of getting that, stealing some of my cup points. That's going to be nice. I'm hoping for a little bit of a bounce back game from Kamara against New England. That's going to be a rough one, but I don't think that, that's a week, to expect from Kamara. I think it's an outlier. Not worried about that one at all. I'm still going back and forth on what to do down there in the flex. I changed it twice now. I'm probably going to change it again. I'm going to say it's not tinkering just because I don't want to do that. But, I have to go back and forth on that one. Currently, I have Pittman in against Tennessee, which seems it's pretty intriguing for me there. I'll see on that one, though. Pittman did have a nice game last week, but Wentz somehow broke both his ankles. I don't even know how you do that. Yeah. I've never even heard of that, but.
Oh, man.
So we'll see if that sticks. See what the news breaks. From here till Sunday. But I guess the recipe for me to win is my tight end scoring some points. So I'm hoping to do that again this week. Like I said, I got some decisions to make. I think it's going to be a fun matchup, though. We're pretty evenly matched across the board, especially with our projections, which the underdogs have learned mean nothing. So we'll see.
I think the tail of the tape this week is going to be this Shannon Shepard play. They're playing Atlanta. I'm looking at that as a fellow manager that has a couple stock in that wide receiver core. Atlanta's a pretty good matchup. But I also understand why he's going Sam Darnold right now against Houston, because Stafford's playing Tampa Bay, and I think, not to be a homer or anything, but our defense is really good, and we picked off a guy last week. I mean, Matt Ryan in Atlanta twice for 2 pick sixes, but I don't think that happens to Stafford. But I think we as a defense play Stafford a lot harder than other teams have been playing him. I think that hurts your Cooper Kupp projections. I think he will probably get those projections, but he's not going to get 30 points like you did against me. I think also the Sam Darnold against Houston is a really cool matchup because Sam Darnold leaving the Jets kind of looks like Ryan Tannehill going to Tennessee. You know what I mean? Like a completely different player. We have not seen this from Sam Darnold. You know, I think the last 2 weeks he's had over 18 points the last 2 weeks and a touchdown or two in the last two. So coming from a Jets team that was trying to just get out of its own way, he's looking pretty darn good. And I think one of the harder picks you're going to have to do this week there, Tank Top Mike, is what defense you're going to play. Are you going to play the Raiders against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I mean, the Rams against Tampa Bay Buccaneers? That's going to be a tough now I was looking at your other options. You got Chicago versus Cleveland. Cleveland looks really good this year. And then Indianapolis against Tennessee. If freaking Derrick Henry wants to go run for 300 yards again, that's not going to be a good play. I think that's going to be one of your tougher decisions moving into week 3.
Yeah, they're all bad options. None of them are good.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. The Indy, if Wentz was playing, the Indy one might be a little better, but if Easton's playing, they might be on the field a little too much. So that's it's going to be, it's probably your best one, but kind of an asterisk by that. So I was looking, Humpty does have some sweet matchups. He's got Monte against Cleveland, but Montgomery's been playing a little bit better. Diggs against Washington football team, but are they as good? Yeah, I was disappointed in their defense last week starting them, and are they as good as advertised, or are they falling off a little? Got Corey Davis against Denver. I'd probably switch him out. But otherwise, so there's 3 out of 10. He's got some really sweet matchups, I think there. You've got Kamara going against New England. New England does well taking the best player out, and Kamara hasn't been doing great yet. So I'm worried about that one for you, Mike. Kupp against Tampa Bay. I kind of feel like he'll still do okay, but yeah, if they game plan for him, it could be tough for him. And then Swift going up against Baltimore. So there's some decisions being made there for sure. It's got you right now favored 61% to 39%, but I think both of you guys will be making some changes in your lineup, so we'll have to see how that shakes out through the week. So it's going to be a good one, though. It's number 2 and number 3 in the league right now, so that's why I got you guys as the first matchup, because that's the one I was most interested in as I did these. So, all right, moving on to the second matchup, we've got Orlando City Football Club against the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Right now, we've got Aaron at 74% and Sean at 26%. Not even close right now in the projections. So, Sean, tell us why that's wrong.
I will go on record and say that I have not been over 30% projection on any of my weeks, which for 1 week it was real right, and the other week was real wrong. I think Tank Top Mike really nailed the essence of my team before week 1. I'm either gonna boom and destroy you, or I'm gonna bust and you're gonna destroy me. And I think week 1 and week 2 really hit both those nails into those coffins, if I can go as far as to say that. I am going to bench Joe Burrow. It was a moment of real sadness for me, but I can't take both of them being Joe Burrow and Joe Mixon, the Joe squared, killing me again. And Derek Carr is absolutely on a tear this year for some ungodly reason, I think I've been on the Derek Carr train for a while, for a few years, but man, this year he's really putting it to him, and I cannot just overlook the fact that he scored 20-plus points in the first 2 games, and they're against good teams. So he'll be starting for me. Also, moving into my wide receivers, I'm kind of toying with the idea of starting everybody else that is in the New York Giants wide receiver core, Galladay and Slayton. I think Galladay has a kickback day, and he will do pretty well against Atlanta, and maybe this will be the game that him and Danny Dimes actually start getting on the same page and bow well for the rest of the season. I'm actually pretty convinced I have the matchups I want on A-Bomb's side. Nick Chubb is going to have to go play Chicago, which is always a pretty good run-stop team. And Josh Allen, I don't think Josh Allen actually starts this week. I think Kirk Cousins is probably going to go in there because Kirk Cousins he's had 2 really good games, and he has a bunch of targets. I think Kirk Cousins might make it in there. Moving down his team, I think Sammy Watkins is going to be the person that will probably get traded out for somebody else, but I don't think Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill will have the week they did last week in week 2, so I'm expecting more points from them. To kind of sum it all up, I'm going to have to over succeed and get more points than I'm projected, but I also need him to kind of help me out.
What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I think you hit a lot of nails and a lot of coffins on this one, on some of that.
A lot of zombies to bed.
I know it'll probably hurt your heart a little bit to bench Burrow, but I think with some of the matchups we're looking at, I agree with putting him on the bench. Derek Carr does have a little bit of a question mark on his ankle, but it seems like he's going to be fine. So not too surprised you're rolling the dice on him there. I think, and I don't want to keep coming back to it here because you and I have been kind of talking about it throughout the day, but I think the big thing is going to be what kind of game does CEH have. And I think in a matchup like you and Aaron have, you touched on a lot of the great matchups. But in a matchup like you two guys have, your running back too scoring, a decent amount of points is really what you want to see. And does CEH have a little bit of a bounce back game? Probably, because he can't be too happy with his role at some point too. I don't think he's the kind of guy to complain about it publicly, but you can't be thinking that he's too happy about it either. So. I think there's a little bit of a bounce back game in his future. If it's this week, I think that's going to be the difference, in you taking a win or not. Honestly, the other thing, you got some balls playing both of those Giants receivers, but Danny Dimes is slinging it right now. So hey, if they hit, that's going to be one heck of a lineup decision. But I respect it.
Yeah, I think the squeaky wheel gets the grease, as they say, and Galladay was barking at Jones on the sideline, and there were a lot of targets that were just a little bit off, not a lot. They were just so close to hooking up on a lot of plays last week. So I think Galladay's a good play. Slayton's he's that boomer bust guy, so you got to go for it there. Go big or go home, as they say. So I think that's a good start, really. Against that defense, I think that's a good one. Mixon against Pitt, it's going to be tough. But you got some nice matchups there. You can definitely do something. It's a rough one, man, because Aaron needs a win. So he's going to have to set a good lineup. He's got a few rough matchups too. So he's got to do his homework and get a good lineup set there. It's a big game already early in the season for you guys. All right. I think that's all I got to say about that. So let's go on to the underdogs versus Silly Dilly. So this one's got the underdogs winning big, but I think they had them projected pretty big last week, and it didn't work out too well. But they got underdogs 85% to Silly Dilly at 15%. So right now the projection is a whopping victory for the underdogs. So, Mike, tell us why that's wrong.
This one, well, first off, let's just go back a little bit. Tannehill is the starting quarterback right now in their lineup, so, I'm feeling good about that. At some point, though, you got to think the underdogs are going to go off. I mean, if you're projected 140 points, week after week after week, you can't keep scoring 115 points. Is this the week that they go off? It could be. It could be because they've got some okay matchups going down. But are they going to overthink some of this? You coming into this, you're one of the consensus favorites. Even the podcasts that we got are that Evan got for us. Had them a pretty high ranked team. And matchups aside, is that something you'd be worried about? Is a little bit of overthinking? They have not just one person to sit there and overthink. They got two of them, and between the two of them, what's going to happen in some of these decisions? Here we go. That's my question to you guys. Are you worried if you're them? Would you be overthinking?
Well, I think you offer up a fantastic question. Who is the owner? Who makes the end decision in the DB's camp? They've got to be going back and forth on some of these flex plays, Like, they are way over projected and they are vastly underperforming. So I think with every week that they come under their projection, I think it gets a little more stiff in the lip with who they want to play. And I think Evan's going to have to get beaten into the corner by Brandon because we all know who Daddy is, and it ain't Evan. But it's got to happen sooner or later, and I ain't going to root for Silly Dilly. So if they both can lose, I would love to see that. Let's hope for a tie.
Have we had a tie yet? I don't think we've had a tie.
Nope.
Here we go. We're going to tie.
Well, I mean, they got some pretty sweet matchups there with CMC going up against Houston. I mean, he could probably have enough points in the first half to put him over the top there. I mean, Houston is playing better than I think a lot of us thought they would.
Mark just said CMC is going to beat Silly Dilly outright in the first half.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I think so. I got him in my other dynasty league, so I gotta hope for that. Now, they lost. Tyrod was playing well, man, and freaking Tyrod has got to be one of the worst luck guys in the league.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be out. He's got a pretty major hamstring injury. Going to be out like 5 to 6 weeks, and I just feel like Houston defense could be on the field a little bit too much because Mills is going to struggle to move the ball. And Carolina defense has been playing really well. So that one there just kind of shapes up for CMC to kind of be halfway through the third quarter being pulled out with about 30 points scored already and, put in Chuba and let him finish things out. They got Najee and Juju going against Cincinnati, which is pretty good matchup, I think. They got the Baltimore defense playing against Detroit, and those could be smash plays for them. So I think this is the week they turn it around. Silly Dilly's going to have to set that perfect lineup again. If he's not manager of the week this week, it could be a pretty lopsided score. That 85% to 15 could stand up. And, we got Brady going against the Rams. Now, Brady's been great. 9 touchdowns in 2 weeks. I mean, he's on a pace to break some records if he keeps that up. But the Rams defense and Donald's gonna they might have a little something to say about that. He's got Julio going against Indy, which could be a tough matchup there. So I don't know. I just don't see a lot of chance for Silly Dilly in this one. I think the underdogs are going to come back at that first win and finally score what they're projected to score. So.
Boo.
Boo.
Well, yeah. The only other, they got Tannehill against Indy, one of those divisional games. They can be ugly sometimes, but I think is Darius Leonard out or still out, or I think he's been kind of dinged up. So Indy defense is a little bit down right now. They got Hawkinson going up against Baltimore. That could be tough for him. But otherwise, it's looking good for him. Sorry, guys. I wish I could be more optimistic that the underdogs would go 0-3, stay down there in the Miyagi Bowl area. But I'm calling it for the underdogs this week. All right, let's go on to our next matchup. So that would be me, the tough luck kid, going up against FNG. And dudes, after seeing what FNG did this week and seeing some of the tough matchups that I have, I'm not going to sit here and say, all right, this is the week I get right. Tell me why I'm wrong, guys. Start it off, Mike.
Kyler Murray is why you're going to win this one. That dude is tearing it up, and you've got a nice little stack going on with Moore. I don't see any reason that that's going to slow down. I think if you want to talk, say about CMC kind of getting benched, they're going against Jacksonville. So you might worry a little bit going into the late third quarter into the fourth. I don't think they pull Kyler Murray or anything crazy like that. But they might take their foot off the gas a little bit. But, at that point, I think Murray's put up enough points for you to feel okay about something like that. I think the big question mark is really going to be that, like we're talking about, the NFC East division game with, because that could affect both your running backs with Elliott and Sanders. That's something I'd be watching kind of close. I think both of those guys are actually looking for a pretty big game. Everybody's been talking about, Tony Pollard all week. Tony Pollard got the game ball. Tony Pollard got 100 yards. I think Zeke might really come out of this one and prove that he's the RB1 there. He may slip Kellen Moore a little bit, something extra before the game. Who knows? But, I think that there's, some pretty good bounce back game potential for Zeke there for you. In terms of McLaurin, though, we'll see who's throwing him the ball. But Heineke did pretty well last week, so, I don't think you have anything to worry about there. But really, like I said, my first instinct on this one is Kyler Murray's probably going to get you this game. Could be single-handedly. So my big question mark for FNG, Boston Scott, what are you doing with this man? It's bugging me. At this point, it's bugging me. I don't know why he's still in there. I get it, but it's Boston Scott. Why is he in there?
Quick question. I have not seen the snap counts this week. I've been so daggone busy, but did he get any snaps this week?
Nope.
He didn't get any in the first week.
Well, no attempts anyway. No rushing attempps in either week, yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
He's ranked the 406th, the highest running back, so.
Well, FNG third time's a charm, FNG. Keep him in there, man. Third time's a charm.
But for real, a little bit on FNG, kind of for real. Like we said, he's going to win a game or two. I don't think it's this one. I don't think it's against you, Mark.
I think FNG, when he sets his lineup, he literally looks at his lineup and goes, who can I start that would piss off the other owner the most if they were to go off? That is what I would be trying to do every week. Who can I start that is projected the lowest amount of points, that has the biggest upside, that will destroy the other owner? I think every week FNG is just gonna have a blast trying to set his lineup to beat the guy. And if he wins, if he beats a few people this year, 3, that's my 3 people is gonna go down. Hopefully it's not me, because I will cry into my pillow if I lose to FNG. But I think he has 0 expectations for this team. And if his team does anything worthwhile, he has 6 first-round picks that he's going to boost that freaking lineup with. If he wins any games, we better be watching out for this guy next year, because he's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah. So you talk about losing.
I don't think he wins this week, by the way.
You talk about losing the FNG. If you lose the FNG, you're probably also accepting Miyagi that week. So Not a good place to be. Not a place you want to be. But yeah, my matchups with Murray and Rondale against Jacksonville, it looks sweet. What I hate is sometimes you see those, your eyes get big, and they just don't materialize the way you think they're going to. And a lot of times it's because they get up early and they take their foot off the gas. So, my best hope is that Jacksonville stays in the game, but I don't think they really will. But that stack with Murray and Rondell could carry me. Definitely could carry me. But yeah, you look at, and I mean, just look down the rest of my matchups. Like I said, Elliott against Philly and Sanders against Dallas. It's one of those division games, and it just could be ugly. You got McLaurin going against Buffalo. Buffalo defense has been pretty good. They've been overachieving, I think. Godwin against the Rams. You got Kittle against Green Bay. Maybe he'll finally do something. I think he can do it. Green Bay hasn't been good, so that's one good matchup, really. You got Henderson against Tampa Bay. Henderson's dinged up, may not even be in my lineup. Chase going against Pittsburgh. So yeah, I look at the rest of the Denver against the Jets is a good one for my defense, but man, I look at these and I'm like, man, I don't think I'll have the same lineup in there that I'm looking at right now. I haven't made any moves yet. So FNG's got Jackson going against Detroit. I think he can feast against them. So I don't know. I should be able to win this one, but I just feel like I don't want to jinx myself and say, yeah, I should be able to get back in the win column this week. I might be the first one to lose to FNG and accept the Miyagi. Let's hope that doesn't happen, guys. I should be able to get it, but man, it just looks like the matchups I have makes me kind of anxious, I'll say. All right, guys, let's go with our last matchup and wrap up the show. We've got the Pooh Crew going against Goofy Jace. So that's the number 1 and number 4 teams in our standings right now. Should be a good one. They have Pooh Crew at 74% and Goofy Jace at 26% right now. I'm sure there'll be some adjustments to the lineups, but Mike, start us off and tell us what you see on Goofy Jace's side here.
Yeah, on Goofy's side, there's some tough matchups that he has. He's always projected fairly high. Obviously, he's in first place. He's got a fairly stacked team. A nice starting lineup. I think Russell Wilson's always going to get his. He's sort of matchup proof specifically, I think. But Aaron Jones against San Francisco, is he going to have another 3 touchdown performance? I'm not quite so sure about that there, but I think he does fine anyway. Tyson Williams, I don't know if you guys read today, he's actually one of the most efficient runners in the league so far. Which you lose, you trade away someone like Kamara and get a guy like that. That's not a bad little pickup actually. That's good for him. I actually with Mike Evans and Gronkowski, I think that could actually turn out to be potentially a preview of the NFC Championship game. I think that's going to be one hell of an offensive show, actually. Going back to your matchup, I think you and I and Goofy are going to have a lot of fun watching, some of our receivers. And if I remember right, wasn't it the Rams and Chiefs that put up like 60-something points each? And, I'm not saying it's going to be something like that, but, I think it's going to be one heck of a show. So, I kind of like that matchup offensively. I'm not so sure about me starting the Rams still, but, and then Goofy obviously has a lot of stock in the Chargers game as well, but I think that could be a pretty good offensive show too. And I forgot Antonio Brown. I think Goofy has a lot of crazy upside with some of these, powerhouse offensive teams. I think, if they go off, obviously he has a pretty good shot of beating Ian. I think, I can't remember if Goofy beat Ian last year, but I think he did beat him late maybe, but I think he could do it again here, actually.
I think we need to remember that the Pooh Crew, that other guy, the guy that will not be named, almost lost to FNG in week 2. I think we should everyone, just pray and hope to God Goofy beats him, because Fuck you, Ian. That's why. I love Goofy's team. Looking at his team right now, I think you really hit the nail on the head with Tampa Bay game against the Rams. It almost makes me not want to start one of the best defenses in the league because I think it's going to be a really good offensive game, but I'm going to start him anyways. And I think Mike Williams kind of like this unsung hero on his lineup. Like the stack between him and Herbert, I think Herbert's getting a real good chemistry with his wide receivers, Mike and Keenan Allen, which are both on Goofy's teams. I think they both have solid projections and really good upside. And I think Antonio Brown is kind of a boom bust guy, but if we're anywhere close to being correct with the game being an offensive juggernaut, kind of like the Dallas and Tampa Bay game, everybody's going to put up points. It's just a matter of how many. I really like this for Goofy. I hope he is still the unbeaten of these two unbeaten teams going into week 4. Continue.
That trade's looking good for Goofy, having Mike Williams and Antonio Brown in the lineup. I know Brown was a little bit down last week, but that's going to happen, man. I mean, you got Evans, Godwin, and Brown. There's going to be 2 guys that achieve and 1 guy that doesn't pretty much every week. So, you know, I'm in that mix too with Godwin. I honestly think I'm not just because I own him. I honestly think Godwin is probably the more bust proof. But out of Evans and Brown, one of those guys is going to be up and down. So it's not a bad strategy to have them both in your lineup because one of them's going to smash, and the other one might be meh or not. But yeah, that trade's looking good for Goofy right now, man. And the Tyson Williams is good. I got to tell you guys this. The only one that knows this right now is Humpty. So I'm going to let the league know right now that I really screwed up by not picking up Tyson Williams because I was about 12 hours ahead of Humpty looking at Tyson, and I didn't want to make a drop. And I was kind of thinking I should probably drop Kerryon, man. He's not even on a team right now. I didn't want to give up on Kerryon Johnson, of all people, to pick up Tyson. And I'm kicking my ass right now. And I told Humpty, I was like, dude, when he picked him up, I was like, man, I was looking at him really hard and I probably should have picked him up. I thought maybe he'd still hang out there and nobody would pick him up. And then he ends up trading him and and getting a pretty good deal out of a waiver wire pickup. And now I'm watching Tyson Williams. And of course, in the first week, Tyson ends up beating me in that game. And I'm just kicking myself, man. So the moral of the story is even if you're on the fence about somebody that might be pretty good, just go ahead and pick them up. Drop Kerryon. Kerryon ain't going to do shit. So yeah, man. I coulda, woulda, shoulda on Tyson Williams, man. So I like Goofy's chances, though. Yeah, he's got a couple of matchups that aren't great with AB and Evans and Gronk all against the Rams, Aaron Jones against San Francisco. It could be some rough ones, but someone out of there is going to do okay. And he's got Tyson against Detroit, Ridley against the Giants. I think he's going to do okay. I think he'll come out with a win here. The thing on my mind as I look down these matchups, and I just wonder if you guys agree, does Auto Poo have some of the stupidest nicknames for his players that you've ever seen in your life?
Yes, he does.
I look at his roster. I can't get past the dumbass nicknames, man. Do you guys want to go through some of these things?
I don't know, baby. Let's do this.
Baby.
Oh wait, that's Pooh Crew's thing to call a grown man baby.
Let's talk about it, baby.
Multiple times does he call a grown man baby.
Yeah, what do we got? Baby Goat, Baby Braun. There was another. There was another.
All the way down here, we got who else? We got a third one here. I know. Oh, Baby Kittle.
Yeah.
Let's start with Baby Braun. Does anybody know what in the hell that means?
I think he's making a weird and really off-centered love connection to LeBron. Does he love LeBron James? Does he want to call him baby? Like, Ian, we live in a world where you can like girls and guys at the same time. You can just come out and say that you like dudes because you're calling a bunch of grown-ass men baby, all right?
I just don't get it. Yeah, DK Metcalf, baby Braun. I don't even get it, man. Maybe it is LeBron, but I still don't get the connection if that's the case.
I'm gonna Google it live.
Have you ever heard Darren Waller called baller to duh? Am I saying that right? Baller to duh?
Baller to duh. And so you finish it with Waller. That's the one that I can almost excuse and say, that's not too bad.
Oh, here we go.
Baller to the Waller. Go ahead. What's baby Braun?
Here's a headline. Here's an article. LeBron James gets eviscerated on social media after dubbing DK Metcalf baby Braun. LeBron James, as you know, is a bandwagon Cowboys fan, so if he's getting eviscerated, I'm cool with that.
Okay. All right. So at least we understand it. Doesn't excuse it, but we understand it. So we got baby Goat, baby Braun, and baby Kittle. He does like baby. He's the baby.
I would love to know what Pooh Crew's freaking mindset is behind Trey Lance's nickname. Vanilla Bean?
That one's weird to me, man.
Vanilla Bean. Makes me think of something. I just can't put my thumb on it, but interesting name for Trey Lance.
At least he spelled nuke right, kind of. That was kind of,
He finally got that right.
We can give all the credit to you.
Right. I think he was spelling it with the E before, right?
Yeah.
And nobody spells it that way. He had to add 4 U's in there. 1, 2, 3, 4 U's. So it's not just nuke, it's nuke. So he even screwed that one up.
He says it, because he kind of has like a stutter in his British accent. Nuke, So he just kind of spelled it the way he likes to say it,
So we got Dalvin Cook, the chef. That's a knee slapper.
Yeah, how creative.
That's a knee slapper.
And poor
Jonathan Taylor.
That's almost as good as Cook 2.0, which is the handcuff to Cook. I mean, woo! I think he really, really worked on that one.
Why didn't he name him the Chef 2.0, though? That's what I don't get. Probably should have been the Chef 2.0.
You can't have 2 names kind of the same. Oh, wait. Yes, you can if you're calling him baby.
So we've got Jonathan Taylor as JT.
Boom.
Very creative. Again, very creative.
Like he's not even the real JT. He just made that up.
No, I mean, when I think of JT, it's James Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Goes way back. Is that what you're thinking, Mike?
James Taylor.
Yeah.
So that one's kind of weird. All right, let's keep going down the list here. We've got Travis Kelce, Zeus. Anybody want to explain that? Crickets. Yeah, crickets, right? The hell is that? Zeus. The god of, what was Zeus the god of? Was he the god?
He was the god of all gods.
He was the god. Maybe that's what he's going for there, but that one just kind of falls flat too. And
this whole freaking nickname BS that he does with all his players, besides 2, which makes me think, why do these guys don't get nicknames that are freaking ridiculous? That he's pooping on the toilet, coming up with stupid ass nicknames for his guys. Why don't they get dumbass nicknames?
There's 2 he didn't name, and he didn't name his taxi guys. But let's just keep going, man. I got to get through these. We got Saquon Barkley as Saquad. I don't know. Crickets again. Anybody got something for that?
Is it because he hurt himself, or is he have big quads?
Did he hurt his quad and it's Saquad?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, it's Pooh Crew gazing upon Saquon Barkley's body. All right, I think there's a I think there's a theme to these nicknames. I think
Maybe
he's
so.
trying to really tell people something about himself,
Yeah, maybe so. Robert Woods, Bobby Trees. Now that's kind of that's not original. He stole that. I mean, he's been called Bobby Trees by many and for a while. So I'd almost give him credit for that one, except he stole it. Discount double check for Aaron Rodgers. Okay, I get it. Of course, that's old now. That's going back a while. They don't really call him that anymore. I still don't get vanilla.
He doesn't even
bean
do the thing
ketchup.
anymore. He used to do the. He doesn't even do that.
Yeah. So this one, Chase Edmonds, can't catch me. So that would make me think that maybe he's fast, but I looked up.
He's probably pretty quick, Marky Mark.
No.
What was his 40 time?
I looked up his 40 time. It was 4.55. I don't think that's anything special. Do you?
No.
I've seen defensive ends run faster than that.
I think Micah Parsons is faster than that. Dallas Cowboy extraordinaire.
I think he
Go
should,
Cowboys.
He should trade, or he should change Chase Edmonds to can't trade me because nobody wants him.
RB1.
RB1 on my bench.
With the little praying hands next to RB1.
We got Marlon Mack as Mack Attack, and kind of not really, because I don't think he's played yet this year, has he? I don't think he's gotten any snaps yet. I'm pulling for him because I want to see him come back from the Achilles, but
I guess 5 attempts for 16 yards.
Okay. He has gotten a few snaps. We got Trey Sermon, Father Trey. What do you think about that one? Any Catholics in the in the chat here?
What the fuck are we doing here with these nicknames? Are we just pulling names out of a freaking hat? Father Trey. Yeah, let's just do this right here. Like, what? Please tell me his son came up with all these names, and then I'll feel real bad about saying all this, but that would make more sense than a grown man calling 3 other grown men baby. Just saying. If I've said that enough, I think my...
Now we're down to J.J. Taylor, JT number 2. So not only do you do a misnomer with misnomer with JT for Jonathan Taylor. Now you got J.J. Taylor, JT number 2. That one's pretty putrid. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, the creativity here is astoundingly low.
What he said, yeah.
I hope he didn't stay up too late thinking of some of these. Then we got DeMarcus.
I hope he stayed up hours and hours to come up with these shitty ass names.
DeMarcus Robinson. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, DeMarcus Robinson, token Gator. That one makes me sad. We get it.
He went to fucking Florida.
That one makes me sad. Just makes me sad. Now another one I really don't get. Amon-Ra St. Brown is the mummy. Anybody got any ideas for why that one?
I think it's pretty straightforward why he called him the mummy. There is no reason. I was being facetious. There's no reason like why.
He'll have some paragraph.
Maybe I'm not smart enough
about it.
Maybe it's the mummy movies reference, but I still don't get it. I think it's a stretch.
Well, one of his unnamed people is named Pharaoh. You know?
Yeah, he had one named Pharaoh, and he didn't name him the mummy. I could have stood by that one, but Debo Samuel, dial up Debo, and he's got the phone emojis there. You know,
in case you didn't get it, here's some phones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got it. We know what dial-up is.
Darnell Mooney
I'm just going to do the Caesar thumb up, thumb down for the rest of these. And I only need one direction.
And we got Deontay Johnson, Juju who. I get it, but I don't like it. He didn't name Chester Rogers. Maybe he could have gone with Chester Drawers, and it would have been kind of funny, but he didn't even name him. T. Higgins. This is my favorite one, guys. Pocket T. You like it? You like it? trying to give him a little credit, guys. DJ Shark Week. Yeah, the show, the Shark Week. You get it? You get it? Oh, Adam Troutman. He just got some emojis of someone catching fish.
For some reason, that one seems the most offensive. I don't know why.
Oh, really? Yeah, because it's not trout.
You think Vanilla Bean is less offensive than that one?
Yeah, Vanilla Bean was pretty bad, but it's not trout TROUT like the fish, you know. I guess that's why it's funny? Question mark?
Come on, Mark. It's a play on word.
Oh, guys, we're at the end of the list. Thank God.
Thank God. All right.
Oh.
So that wraps up our review for week 2. And as always, Ian, you have a crappy team and you suck.